What a way to make a living. Crypto is on the rise, making that dough in the crypto paradigm. Watching it go, buying low, selling high. Riding the wave, I'm here to stay, living in the digital age. No banks, no fees, just decentralized. It's crypto paradise. Ooh. No banks, no fees.
Good morning, surfers. Welcome to the daily live stream. My name is Crypto Amaru. Of course, Crypto Hitman is here as always. It is Friday, August 22nd. And guess who's speaking today at the Jackson Hole Symposium? None other than Jerome Powell. Will the head of the Fed pump our bags or dump us into oblivion? Well, I guess we'll just have to wait and see, because in about 15 minutes he takes the stage. We have ETH news to cover as always. We've got some markets or some charts to share. I myself am here at the Paradise Pad, not on the roof today, down in the co-working space. Had a little connectivity issues yesterday streaming on the roof, but I will be leaving for the beach in about 30 minutes. So we're gonna keep it brief, keep it short and sweet today. How are we doing today, man? Are you looking forward to joining me? And what is you're gonna be here in 4 or 5 days?
I think I'm going down there on Monday, so yeah, it'll be a good time. Just trying to get stuff done between now and then. Never a dull day. We got Jerome Powell talking here, I think, in like 15 minutes. We got Donald Trump doing an Oval Office presentation today at midday. I don't know what that's about, but that's going to be after Jerome Powell talks, so we'll see what happens there. And yeah, I mean, we had red in all the markets yesterday, yet there was 287 million of inflows for Ethereum, which is pretty interesting to see. That means retail is selling out while institutions or ETF buyers are buying in. So it seems like the crypto OGs are getting a little scared while the new TradFi participants are buying up the dip. We see here Bitcoin at a critical level of support. This is the 112 level that we need to hold. You do see that we went to a slight new low in price while we had a slight higher high in RSI. That is a bullish divergence. I mean, this is a critical level for Bitcoin. I don't think Jerome Powell says much of anything today, but today is a major inflection point for Bitcoin. And if you do have a sell-off here, you're going to have people saying, oh, well, you got an Adam and an Eve, and that's going to give you a price target down around like $106,000 to $108,000. I know none of us really want to see that. We want to see momentum continue up and to the right, and these altcoins hold some of their gains they've had over the past couple weeks. If we look here at Ethereum, though, up 2% today to 43.22 on the back of, yes, BitMine wants to buy more Ethereum. We got the TradFi participants buying 287 million worth of ETH yesterday. We have the U.S. government buying another tranche of ETH. We mentioned this yesterday that there's rumors of maybe an Ethereum strategic reserve for the U.S. government. They have bought ETH now 2 days in a row. What is going on there? Is this for the stablecoin bill? Is this an Ethereum strategic reserve? I don't know, but I love to see the U.S. government buying some Ethereum. And lastly, we did receive news today that Sharplink Gaming has just approved a $1.5 billion stock buyback program, saying if the MNAV of their stock goes lower than the amount of Ethereum they have, they're going to buy back 1.5 billion of their stock shares to pump the stock price in order to raise more funds to do what? Buy more Ethereum. So for everybody saying the Ethereum top is in, I think you are incorrect. And this kind of strength is good. This doesn't mean that ETH can't dump again and go to this 3,900 level if Bitcoin goes to 106. But I think what is important is you're seeing ETH strength amidst a massive wall of red. This is what you want to see. You want to buy the strongest assets in downturns, because when things get bullish, they will be the outperformers.
Let's go ETH strategic reserve. I do want to, if you can pull up the story that you read about the U.S. government buying ETH. I think was they confiscated ETH or holding on to? Because I don't think they're bought it, but I'd love to see the source for that information, because that is obviously monumental if they're in fact buying it. So we'll see some source information on that in a second. I actually think Powell, look, he's not going to tip his hand in any major way, but if he hints, intimates, or even somehow suggests that the balance of the dual mandate has then shifted in favor of, their concern now around the labor market. If he says that in any way, shape, or form, the market should start to run, because that means that they are going to cut rates in September. If he says something to the effect of, we still don't know, we're still worried about inflation, we're looking at more data, I think that's obviously hawkish, that's bearish, and the markets will likely correct further. But he shouldn't say that. I mean, we've seen now the labor market deteriorating in a significant way over the past 3 months with those major downward revisions. So I think, look, inflation can still be a concern of the Fed, but I think the balance has shifted into greater concern for the labor market. And if he says that, we are going to run, our bags will pump, the rate cut is coming. So look, fingers crossed, I'll be out here on the beach today. I won't be paying too much attention, admittedly, but this is what it comes down to, folks. He has the power to move the markets, and so we just got to watch the conference, watch the speech, see what he has to say for himself, and fingers crossed the Fed doesn't have its head up its ass. You are muted.
As you can see here on Twitter, some are using the term received, others are saying bought, others are saying acquired. I mean, nonetheless, the data shows that there was $332,000 worth of Ethereum sent from Coinbase institutional to the U.S. government wallet, and they now own 65,232 ETH worth $281 million. What is nice to see is their previous Ethereum holdings have not been sold or swapped to BTC or USDC or anything like that. It's just been holding it for a long period of time, and this is kind of the first inflows of Ethereum to the government wallet, and it's happened the past 2 days. So interesting to see. We'll see. Like you said, some are saying bought, which wouldn't really make sense because they're not buying even Bitcoin. Some are saying received, some are saying acquired. So where did this ETH come from? Came from Coinbase Institutional. Was it from a criminal? Was it for some kind of deal? Was it for regulatory purpose? I don't know, but it is topping up the U.S. government wallet, and this wallet has not sold ETH in a very long time.
My guess is it had to have been through confiscation, right? They can't go out and just buy it. We know that. They can't just go out and buy Bitcoin. They're still looking for budget-neutral ways to buy Bitcoin, let alone Ethereum, of which there's no order from President Donald J. Trump to say buy Ethereum. They have that for Bitcoin and still haven't bought the Bitcoin. So I don't think they bought it. My guess is it was confiscated through some kind of criminal whatever investigation, made its way to Coinbase, now it's making its way to the U.S. government where it will be held. He did put out a tweet. I don't recall. This was maybe last May, where he said they're looking to do an altcoin strategic reserve. Remember that? Remember that day? I think I was at the mall with my family, and like all of a sudden the markets are pumping like mad. It's like, oh, Trump just announced an altcoin strategic reserve. I don't think it really materialized into an official order, if memory serves. But who knows? We'll see where this all goes. I mean, the way I look at this is we're early days when it comes to Ethereum. We're finally out of the early adopters, kind of like, cypherpunks, the weirdos, the criminals, whatever, just using it for money laundering. We're out of that phase now. We're now in the institutional phase. We're in the Wall Street phase. We're in the government acceptance phase. But we're in the precipice of it. We're the very beginning of it. And so for all those OGs who are, okay, 4-year cycle, I got to get out now and sell, and you're selling it to Wall Street. I don't know, man. It seems a little short-sighted. If you've been holding on this long and now you're saying, okay, I'm exiting the market because, for whatever reason you have, look around, look what's happening. The amount of inflows, the amount of new companies set up to buy Ethereum. Now, apparently the U.S. government acquiring it in some way, shape, or form. I'm holding on to my ETH. That's all I can say. I mean, for those who are selling now, good luck to you. We'll see you at $10,000 ETH.
Yeah, we also know that World Liberty Finance, everybody calls it Trump's wallet. It's not Trump's wallet. It's his family and company ties, whatever. Just bought another $3 million worth of ETH not long ago as well. So World Liberty Fi's buying. The government is seizing. Thomas Lee's buying. SharpLink Gaming saying they're going to buy 1.5 billion of their own stock shares to raise more money to buy more ETH. I think Ethereum's got a long way to go, and the pundits on the financial television shows are starting to talk about ETH as kind of the digital future as well when it comes to, on-chain transactions, stablecoins, development, and the list goes on and on.
Yeah, if you want to bet against Thomas Lee, if you want to bet against Donald Trump's family, who clearly have insider knowledge of what's going on behind the scenes, right? If you want to bet against them, you go ahead and do that. Again, best of luck to you if you think that's a smart move. I will be betting with them. I will be huddling on here as we watch this sort of digital revolution unfold before our eyes. So yeah, I'm long ETH. You guys know that. And obviously we're bullish on all assets tied to Ethereum as well. You know, we talk about Pulse Chain a lot on this channel. The Surf token, we have some Surf token updates for you as well to cover. So, you know, it all, you know, the high tide lifts all boats, I should say. And so we're rooting for ETH, and I think it has a long, long way to run.
Yeah, and we have seen a little bit of a sell-off in the stock market as well the past few days, which hasn't helped Bitcoin or ETH, although they have outperformed the sell-off from NASDAQ and some of these individual stocks. See the NASDAQ hit another all-time high, came down and put in another higher low, and we're seeing green today in front of the Jackson Hole speech, which probably should start here in a couple minutes. So we'll see how that affects market as well. Nothing too crazy is going on. Everything is in lockstep. Everybody is waiting to see what Powell says today, and then there's going to kind of be a 1 month lull until we actually see if the Fed wants to go ahead and cut the rates. The other thing that is really hurting the stocks is Nvidia, of course. Nvidia had a massive sell-off with news that they might stop selling some of their chips to China until they figure out negotiations. A lot of backstories go on there, a lot of headwinds, a lot of tailwinds, but the matter of the fact is that all gets resolved, and it really just caused fear, uncertainty, and doubt in the markets, which market participants just don't like. Take advantage of volatility, buy high conviction plays, hold on for the long term, and you're going to do okay. Personally, instead of buying Nvidia up here, I would rather be looking at like an AMD, for example, a smaller microchip and microprocessor company. You know, we're always looking for value to try to actually get financial riches rather than chasing the top assets on the block.
Yeah, I mean, look at that chart.
Motion detected in the front yard.
And it looks like Crypto Amaru may have frozen, so let's look at a few other charts here. We also do see Coinbase. We sold this thing at $396. We started buying it back here on the gap lower at $327. Currently $302 with a bullish divergence and a bullish moving average cross. If you're in the Discord, I probably would say we need to buy another 25%. This was a 25 to 50% buy as we're looking to get our position back after taking profits on the way up. A 20 to 5% position around here probably makes some sense, and then we'll hold out and see if we trend down here to 265 if Bitcoin does in fact have that sell-off. I think I'm still live, so I'll keep talking. Pulse Chain, even though Ethereum is green, Pulse Chain is red today. It's been acting very strong with Ethereum, but there is a sell-off today. Let's see if Richard Hart's marketing, let's see if all those millions that came into the market finally get deployed into the Pulse Chain blue chips. PLS here, selling off a bit. You don't want this to continue down to here. Why is that? Because then you will say, look, Inverse, Adam, and Eve rounded. You break this neckline and you're heading down all the way back down to 3150. You don't want to see that. Come on, Richard Hart. Buy the dip, people. And the target will be 7,000 for a very big Adam and Eve target to 7,000. I did a video right here when I was trying to break out saying that would be a 32% move higher. Well, now you're looking at more like a 53% move higher. You need to hold right here, right now. I don't want to see the inverse Adam and Eve charts coming out because the downside risk is down here and down here. We don't like it. We've been waiting long enough. We need to see the upside starting to kick in. Obviously, that is affecting a lot of the small caps over on chain. We see Hype is down 8%, Increase down 3%. We see Peacock down 21%. We might need another buy setup on that. PTGC down 5. Rhino down 5. Surf down 10. Teddy down 7. Everything is getting hit today, but it is putting in higher lows. So let's keep conviction, figure out ways how to stack these bags, and let's see if Pulse Chain wants to react to Ethereum strength. And then lastly, it looks like Crypto Armor is back. Whale Panda, a Bitcoin maxi. I get into it with him a little bit because he is just such a pessimist for somebody who's a Bitcoin maxi and Bitcoin's at 120,000. Always crying about manipulation. I think he might have fumbled some of his bag or he's leveraged long. He did say that Bitcoin is trying to decouple from NASDAQ, but not in a positive manner. Bitcoin underperforming NASDAQ over the past couple months. Let's see if that will flip on its head. And really, I don't know if it really needs to. Get lockstep with NASDAQ, get lockstep with gold, and it is ETH season, baby. It's time for Ethereum to outperform Bitcoin and the altcoins to do their thing.
I don't pay too much attention to these bears who are always crying about the day-to-day price movements. Oh, it's down 10%, so, you know, sell everything, and Bitcoin's done, and it's a scam, and it's manipulated. Some of those things are true. But if you take the long-term view, you're going to start to realize that Bitcoin, even at $112,000, is undervalued, because in 10 years from now, it will be worth $1 million. And so this guy, yeah, you know, who knows? Maybe he sold early. Get rich, that's the term I love. So, you know, it's worked out for me, holding on for all these years, holding up through the ups and downs, staying positive, understanding that adoption is slow but steady. You know, we're all going to be fine, guys. You have these red days. Big deal. If you can't handle the manipulation, if you can't handle the ups and the downs, if you can't handle the volatility, maybe this is not the asset class for you. But if you can handle those things, if you're like Michael Saylor, you know, he looks at volatility like a gift. At least that's what he says anyway. Who knows if he's really sweating it. You know, you can do extremely well. So, yeah, I'm not worried about these red days, and we're going to be fine.
Can you hear this?
I hear Powell. Here he goes.
Federal Open Market Committee meetings, we recalibrated our policy stance, setting the stage for the labor market to remain in balance near maximum employment over the past year. This year, the economy has faced new challenges. Significantly higher tariffs across our trading partners are remaking the global trading system. Tighter immigration policy has led to an abrupt slowdown in labor force growth. Over the longer run, changes in tax, spending, and regulatory policies may also have important implications for economic growth and productivity. There is significant uncertainty about where all of these policies will eventually settle and what their lasting effects on the economy will be. Changes in trade and immigration policies are affecting both demand and supply. In this environment, distinguishing cyclical developments from trend or structural developments is difficult. This distinction is critical because monetary policy can work to stabilize cyclical fluctuations, but can do little to alter structural changes. The labor market is a case in point. The July employment report, released earlier this month, showed that payroll job growth slowed to an average pace of only 35,000 per month over the past 3 months, down from 168,000 per month during 2024. This slowdown is much larger than assessed just a month ago, as the earlier figures for May and June were revised down substantially. But it does not appear that the slowdown in job growth has opened up a large margin of slack in the labor market, an outcome we want to avoid. The unemployment rate, while edging up in July, stands at a historically low level of 4.2% and has been broadly stable over the past year. Other indicators of labor market conditions are also little changed or have softened only modestly, including quits, layoffs, the ratio of vacancies to unemployment, and nominal wage growth. Labor supply has softened in line with demand, sharply lowering the break-even rate of job creation needed to hold the unemployment rate constant. Indeed, labor force growth has slowed considerably this year with the sharp fall off in immigration, and the labor force participation rate has edged down in recent months. Overall, while the labor market appears to be in balance, it is a curious kind of balance that results from the market slowing.
I think he's gearing up for no rate cut. He's basically saying the job market's fine, which, I mean, good God. I don't know what world he's living in, but
they can do so.
Maybe I'm coming around to your position, Nick, that this has become extremely political, huh?
It only took you a year to figure that out.
Let's see what they do.
Roughly half the 2.5%.
We'll listen in a little bit longer. He's usually not that long-winded.
Declining growth has largely
see if we have any
reflected
opinions,
a slowdown
and we'll wrap it up. Let you get to the
spending.
beach, and I'll get to the charts.
As with the labor market, some of the slowing in GDP likely reflects slower growth of supply or potential output. Turning to inflation, higher tariffs have begun to push up prices in some categories of goods. Estimates based on the latest available data indicate that total PCE prices rose 2.6% over the 12 months ending in July. Excluding the volatile food and energy categories, core PCE prices rose 2.9%, above their level of a year ago. Within core, prices of goods increased 1.1% over the past 12 months, a notable shift from the modest decline seen over the course of 2024. In contrast, housing services inflation remains on a downward trend and non-housing services inflation is still running at a level a bit above what has been historically.
Oh, they need their ad in there, Vanek.
I think, yeah, they're still, they're still talking about inflation, and they're. All right, well, let's see what happens, man. Let's see what happens. But that speech sounded pretty hawkish to me.
Yeah, I mean, he had a couple things, where he was talking about, I don't know, he's just so flip-floppy, but then also he's like,
mute that thing, yeah.
He's like, oh, well, this category is below the 2% mark, but this one's at 2.4%, and this one's there. So, yeah, I don't know, pretty hawkish. In my opinion, we'll see.
It will continue to take time for tariff increases to work their way through supply chains.
Tariffs going to continue to increase inflation over time because it's going to take time, even though
tariff rates
have been
continue
going on for
to fall.
How much time are they going to give it? They're going to give it 2 more years? Oh, I mean,
the other thing that's interesting is so far a lot of major companies, for those of you who don't know, like even Porsche, for example, they are actually eating a lot of the tariffs. They're passing on a 2% increase or 5% increase of a car price and eating the rest of the tariffs. The thing is, you have car price rises regardless of what's going on. Looking at Corvette, for example, they have a 5% price increase on many of their cars in the U.S. made. So that's not really anything out of the ordinary. A lot of companies are choosing to eat that, or the importers are choosing to eat that because they understand they need to keep prices in line in order to keep their consumer base buying the products and to have the profit margin to work with. We've been sitting here now with tariffs for quite a while. I don't know how much, 6 months, 8 months, and inflation continues to just be hovering around 2%. And, the tariffs are actually bringing a lot of money to the U.S. federal government, and they're talking about how they're using the tariffs to potentially pay off national debt and do other things with it. And the reduction of government spending and the reduction of national debt is what also helps keep inflation low and decline as well. So at least they're utilizing the tariff money properly. The other one is the Trump gold card just brought in like $5 billion that went towards the national debt. So I don't know what else you want to see or what you want to have going on. Also, globally, Europe has already done like 8 to 10 cuts. Japan has done multiple cuts. China has done multiple cuts. And the United States has lower inflation than the UK, than most of Europe, than Argentina, than all these places that are also doing cuts already. So I think, as an average citizen, this is really deep in the weeds. Maybe you don't have investments, but you want cuts because you want your credit card interest rates to go down. You want your car interest rates to go down. You want to be able to get better mortgage rates. So, and it also affects renters. Renters are like, oh, I don't care, I just rent or I just lease. It affects you too, because if interest rates are high on your landlord, who do they pass that on to? They're on there to make money. So if their mortgage is higher, they got to have higher rent on you as well. So I just don't see why anybody would be really rooting against rate cuts. Is it the right thing? Is it the wrong thing? I don't know. I'm not Jerome Powell. I don't get paid to do this. But in my estimation, it seems like they keep moving the goalposts. And for the average citizen and for the national debt purposes, a rate cut makes sense.
Well, we absolutely need a rate cut. There should be no one rooting against a rate cut. What jumped out at me from what I heard him, what he mentioned on the speech, the sector that is going to be most sensitive to these tariffs, imported goods, that is below, he said, it's an inflation at 1.1%. You're 50% below your target. So inflation hasn't been the result. Tariffs haven't caused inflation. That's been clear in my view. I don't like what he had to say about the labor market, basically saying things are still good despite evidence to the contrary. Blaming it on more restrictive immigration or whatever you heard him say. So pretty hawkish speech from Powell. From where I'm standing, we'll see how the markets react, right? I mean, maybe he comes out at the end and says, however, despite everything I just said, we're gearing up for a cut. I doubt he does that though. So look, we'll see, man. We got another 3 weeks until the rate decision. But that speech, man, that was not looking good. And unfortunately, we are now basically this entire economy and the financial markets are being controlled by this one guy, unelected Jerome Powell. And that's where things stand. So it's not a good spot to be in. I will leave you guys with a positive, bright note. His term ends in May of next year, and so absolute worst case scenario, you have to deal with this nonsense for another 8 months, and then it's
well, that would be some people are like, well, that's kind of crazy. That's kind of crazy to think about because normally the 4-year halving cycle would be over well before May. So him being out in May isn't going to help us. But maybe that's where we get bull market into 2026, and maybe we have self-fulfilling prophecy, and there's some kind of major top in October, November, December, but then we have another surge and run in 2026. Because I will say also, not only Powell being gone in May, there's midterm elections in the middle of 2026. And a lot of the pro-crypto people, and you're seeing Winklevoss raising a lot of money, they are pushing as if maybe, just in case we lose the midterm elections in 2026, we're not going to have the ability to push through all these crypto-related objects. Because remember, if somehow, by some chance, the Senate flips to Democrat control, who does that put back in power? The queen of hating crypto herself, Senator Warren. So keep in mind, we need to see a lot of policies get pushed through that can speed things along. Fed chair will be out, and you do not want to see the Senate flip in the midterms of 2026, because that would be Senator Warren. Or maybe if somehow that happens, maybe the second half of 2026, that is the actual top signal for Bitcoin in the next bear market starts.
I don't think the Democrats are going to do particularly well in the midterm because Trump overall has been doing a really good job. I think most Americans see that, and I think Democrats are just kind of lost in the woods right now. They don't really have a message. Their platform is let's just be woke, and people are like, I don't want woke right now. So
well, hang on a second. Bitcoin 115,000.
Okay.
We're not here. We must have missed something when we muted. Holy cow! What's going on? Ethereum 4,580. Boom! In your face. Let's fucking go.
He just said something. He just said something dovish. I guess we missed it. To me, it sounded pretty hawkish, but I guess maybe I misinterpreted what he was saying.
3% swing as well.
Yeah, things are looking good. Maybe rate cuts are coming. Maybe let's see.
But maybe he's sounding hawkish, but people are citing the same numbers that you're hearing. If your target's 2%, he just named a bunch of stuff that's below or at 2%. Come on, guys.
Associated with the ELB, we adopted a flexible average inflation target, a makeup strategy.
All right, well, I got to get down to my kids and head over to the beach. So you guys can enjoy watching the rest of Powell. Enjoy the markets pump. I hope you guys are long. I don't care what this guy says, does. When he's out in May, Trump is going to announce a very dovish new head of the Fed coming probably in like February or March of next year. So remember, it's not just, it happens in May. There's going to be a lead up to it. So guys, we're good regardless, but it looks like who knows? We may get that rate cut in September. The markets estimate 90% chance of rate cut. I just didn't like what he had to say about the labor market. It sounded like he was thinking everything was honky-dory over there. Meanwhile, basically no jobs got created in the last 3 months. Cool,
yeah,
bro.
the betting market has definitely cooled off a bit. It was up to like 98%. I think it's down to 85%, so still a really good chance, but bettors are starting to hear him sounding hawkish, maybe think he'll make the political decision in the last hurrah and just not cut rates till May and say, all right, you guys figure it out. But I don't think that's really his style, but who knows? I don't know anymore. It is kind of wild.
I had to sit and watch the speech, but look, remember, to be fair, he is not the final arbiter of the rate cut. It is a committee of, I believe, 12 individuals. And so it's a, majority rule sort of thing. And obviously, I'm sure he has outsized influence over that committee, but he's not the only vote. We had 2 dissenters on the last vote. So, look, anything can happen, folks. I just feel like take that long-term view. Whatever happens today, tomorrow, that shouldn't matter for you guys. Think about where this asset class is going over the next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 years. And you start to realize, all right, well, whatever Powell does today, tomorrow, next month, I don't really lose sleep over it.
Ethereum absolutely ripping, $4,646. I hope this isn't just a relief rally. Come on, baby, do something. SBT up 12%, BMNR up 10%, Coinbase up as well. When you dropped out, I said, hey, Coinbase, bullish divergence, you probably want to buy some more, and it just wicked up another $12 a share for those of you who are
Paradise Pump in full effect.
Jesus Christ. All right, well, you have fun on the beach. I'll look at the charts. And, yeah, until next time, guys, I guess I'll see you guys on the beach on Monday as well. Stay tuned for short-form content. Nate is back from his honeymoon, so cheer him on. And let's hope some of the altcoins that we keep talking about continue to go up and to the right. Of course, Fuck 9 to 5 sitting around a $2 million market cap. We're in at 300,000. We got Dose around a 200,000 market cap. We're in at 100K. We got RhinoFi still floating around 900K. Surf is around 900K. Buy the Surf dip. We didn't get to it, but there's major updates coming to the website, a dashboard coming to the website, and once all that is finished over the next couple days, guess what? Buy and burns begin of Surf from DeFi Yield. So we're going to pump the Surf token price with or without you, with or without Powell, with or without the markets.
Let's fucking go. All right, boys, great stuff today. I'm off to spend some time on the literal beach, and until next time, we will see you on that beach. Peace out.